again, everybody, and welcome to another edition of Brown's Latest. I'm Dave Grendzynski, but you can call me Grizzer. A lot of people do. It's just fine, and this is where we get you caught up on some of the latest news and the tidbits involving our favorite team in the NFL. That is, of course, the Cleveland Browns. Thank you to everybody who has liked our previous episodes. To all of you who have subscribed to the channel, I can't speak because we are 20 subscribers away from 13,000. I just checked. We need 20 more, and then we can change the fit to celebrate 13,000. We would hopefully do that tomorrow. Hopefully I'll be wearing something other than the orange quarter zip. We'll give it a rest. Ooh, on a prediction pen day, too. We'll have a fit change and a prediction pen on the same day tomorrow if all things go as planned. But we're only 20 people away from 13,000 subscribers. Thank you to everyone who has already subscribed. And thank you to everybody who gets your comments down there in the viewer comment section. Now, not only are we celebrating the fact that Bubba Ventrone is no longer our special teams coach. Good luck with that, Rams. But today's show, all of the topics were inspired by viewer comments. And the first one we'll talk about is the plan that unraveled Jim Schwartz's retainment. Ooh, that's a good one. And why it was fate that brought Todd Monken and Shedeur Sanders together. Plus, what we don't do that so many other talk shows about the Browns seem to always do. And then down in the viewer comments, we will actually have viewer comments like we normally do. The huge advantage we already have on offense going into this season. So there we go. That's where we're heading. But first things first, let's start with our first topic inspired by a viewer comment, and it's on the Jim Schwartz situation. And here is the viewer comment. It came from MDH Vancouver 7185, who said, Grizzer, of course they had discussions about Schwartz. What if it were known that Monken and Schwartz wouldn't work together? And that is why Schwartz was led to believe he was in the lead. Something changed. And I think Monken came up with a solid Schwartz replacement plan at the 11th hour. The Browns are not stupid. Well, the Schwartz situation is still fluid. Obviously, the reports are that as soon as he found out Todd Monken was going to be the head coach, he was walking around the building, shaking hands with people, and telling everybody he was done. It baffles me because I don't know why it came to this, why it happened this way. I do think it's maybe an unprofessional way to handle the situation, and that's what's coming out now. You're seeing reports that this might have been a red flag with Schwartz. The way he handles these types of things, I don't know. I mean, we don't know. We're not in the building. We don't know what's going on. All we know is what we saw on the field, and listening to him in press conference. I mean, he's always been very impressive to me, and I really like him. The players really like him, And then Myles Garrett putting out his cryptic memes and things like that. We're going to talk more about Myles tomorrow, but it doesn't help the situation. But and neither does this with Schwartz to go kind of off the rails like this. But MDH is, I said I can't believe all these conversations weren't had during the process. Where if it did come down to Monken, and they had a plan for Schwartz to keep him happy as well. Doesn't seem like it went that way. But here's my other theory: is this their way of cleaning house without cleaning house? So, as popular as Schwartz is, if right after the season, Andrew Berry and Jimmy Haslam come out and they say, no, we are getting rid of everybody. This is a complete clean out. Would the fans have been happy? Absolutely not. Everybody been screaming up and down, you got to keep Schwartz, you got to keep Schwartz, you got to keep Schwartz. So, what do? They make Schwartz part of the process, right? Knowing that if he didn't get the job, he was going to take his ball and go home. So you talked to him about the head coach's spot, knowing deep down inside you were never going to offer him the gig. Harbaugh gets fired. Opens things up. Monken gets fired. So now Monken's on the beach. And right away, you want Monken in here because he's from the division, all the things we talk about. You bring him in here, and you know he's going to be your guy the whole process. And then you wait and see what Schwartz is going to do. And they're even telling people, hey, we want to keep him as DC. We want to keep him as DC. And then you get to it. You tell Schwartz, Monken is the head coach. And then it goes as planned. So it's not over yet. He's still under contract. He has not left us yet, but I don't know if you can go back now. I don't know if you can go back after this. So hopefully they can mend the fences and patch this thing up. But I was wondering, is this a way for them to entirely clean house with and letting Schwartz kind of do it himself, so they didn't have to do it and be the bad guys? I mean, I've seen stranger things in a corporate world, but MDH, MDH is convinced there were discussions. I mean, I have to think there were some discussions. I can't. But like I said, the other thing I think about is did they plan on this happening, knowing Jim Schwartz's demeanor? I don't know. Maybe they did. Maybe they didn't. Okay, moving on. Now, this is a fun one. This is a great one. And what's funny is it was inspired by a hate comment. and it kind of backfires. So here we go. The comment came from Ed McCracken, 7378, who says, Monken only came to Cleveland because we are the only team to offer him the head coaching job. Stop acting like he wanted this job from the start. Well, I hate to break it to you, Ed, but here's how the Monken situation played out. Monken was fired from Baltimore. Harbaugh was fired from Baltimore. Harbaugh goes to the Giants. Harbaugh wants Monken to come with him and be his offensive coordinator. In between some of this, Monken is brought in to talk to the Browns about their head coaching spot. He's got A, be a head coach in Cleveland on the table. He's got B, stay with Harbaugh, go to the Big Apple, New York, the big money, the lights, the concrete jungle, the whole thing. Two good options. That's all he's interested in. He either wants to stay with Harbaugh, where he's comfortable, or he wants to be a head coach with the Browns. So he's not entertaining any other offers. So it's not as if no other team wanted him. He didn't want any other team. And here's why. Take a look at this. This came to me from somebody on Facebook. Mario Powell sent this to me on the Browns' latest Facebook page. Yes, we have a Facebook page. That's a picture of young Shedeur Sanders. And this came from somebody named who said Todd Monken was the offensive coordinator and quarterback coach at Georgia when Shedeur had an offer from them. What a coincidence that Todd Monken was also the offensive coordinator when Baltimore wanted to draft Shedeur. Make of that what you will. Personally, I call it perfect timing. Was it fate all along? Is this why he's like, I'm not going? If I don't get this job and finally get my chance to work with Shedeur, then I'm going to go just stay with Harbaugh, get a raise in New York and do that. But there was a question that's came out. There was a question about Shedeur and how you would develop Shedeur on the coaches quiz that the Browns were handing out. And so his answer probably knocked their socks off. And so when you compare, again, going back to Schwartz, if you compare that answer to what Jim Schwartz, Monken's answer, I mean, you have to assume it would be better. He's an offensive guy who's developed, all he's ever does is develop quarterbacks. He's going to know how to develop a quarterback. And he's the guy who adapts his system to the quarterback that he's working with, to his strengths. So this seemed to be like a match made in heaven that just finally connected. Going all the way back to when Monken was in Georgia. And Kirby Smart came out and said all nice things about Monken. I mean, all these former players are coming out and saying nice things about Monken. You see these videos of Monken on the sideline dapping up Lamar, coming out of the booth, coming down to dap up Lamar because, they had success on the field. And, it's like he is a player's coach, man. And he has always wanted to work with Shedeur. And now his dream has come true. He tried. The third time was the charm. Tried to get him in college. It didn't work. Tried to get him to Baltimore. That didn't work. But now he manifested it. It all comes together, and he takes gets the head coaching job in Cleveland, and Shedeur Sanders is the quarterback. And now he finally gets what I'm going to call his dream quarterback, because he's been trying really hard to work with him, and now he will. So sorry, Ed McCracken, but that's not how this played out, man. This isn't, and that's what, the haters, they always have to go to the negative, which brings us to our next viewer comment inspired topic, which is from John Simeone, who says, Grizz, glad to see and hear a positive spin instead of the other talk shows stomping their feet because their guy didn't get hired. And I'll tell you, man, it is, this is a positive vibes only, please zone, at least most of the time. I mean, I have my moments. We had our Monday meltdowns and everything else. Like, there's a time for it. But it is just like the second Monken was or even leading up to it. It was, the Browns are screwing this up. The Browns are screwing this up. The Browns are screwing this up. And I'm telling you, I'm like, this is a great situation we're in. I'm trying to tell you, And now look at it, and now look at after hiring Monken and the things that are coming out and the things I've been sharing with you for the last week and a half or so, and even just now, like how he wanted to try and he was recruiting Shedeur at Georgia. He wanted Shedeur at Baltimore, and now he gets to work with him. I just don't know why Browns fans and why. I mean, it's not all of us. No, don't get me wrong, but I don't know. It's just disheartening that everybody goes to the negative right away. Like, why? There's just we need more positivity, man. And I'm telling you, the power of positivity. If we're going to turn this around, it's going to take the positive vibes from the fan in order for that to happen. It's got to happen, folks. You've got to quit looking at it as glass half empty. You have to start looking at the Browns as glass half full. I promise you, your life's going to be a lot better. Even when they're, 3-14, look at the positives and move forward. And I know the haters are going to get all over me about it, but the negativity, it's got to stop, man. It has got to end, because we're never going to turn this around if you don't start sending some positive vibes. And that's all I'm asking. So think about it from where we're at, man. Like I keep telling you, we've got a quarterback and a coach who will be aligned now. You got all these draft picks coming, the cap space, the new stadium. We're gonna have free agents. We already got coaches coming here that are stellar coaches that want to coach with Monken. Either stay with him, or we're gonna get some others in here. If Schwartz doesn't want to stay, it's not the end of the world. I mean, could it have been handled differently? Yeah, sure, but every situation could be handled differently. Yes, we wanted him to stay, but never expected the reaction. That's the only blip on this whole thing for me, is the Schwartz thing. And it's only because, I thought all those conversations had been had, and they apparently, if they were, they didn't stick. It still didn't sit right with Jim Schwartz. So, but I think that's going to play. That situation will play itself out. It's going to be fine. But all I'm asking, folks, is please look at it from a glass half full perspective. You'll be I'm telling you, this is our team. This is our team. Let's go. Please, glass half full. Please. What's always a glass half full situation are the viewer comments. So thank you to all of you who were able to inspire our topics today. And then now to the actual viewer top comments, where we will start with the greatest talent evaluator that only we know. And you've seen him on our show a couple of times before. His name is Thraso Thrasavoulou. His son Costa is the Greek freak. He's the All-American cornerback from Mount Union. But Thraso says, an offensive coach and an O-line coach who have been together is a huge advantage for the offense. This is what we teased at the top. Thraso says, they know what each other wants, which is a recipe for success, in my opinion. So, Monken, bringing the offensive line coach with him from the Ravens was huge. And you can't tell me how important it was you could tell me how important it was by how soon Monken was hired. It was announced. We also hired Warhop basically at the same time. I wonder if they can convince Bitonio to return. That's going to be, I think Bitonio is going to be in the mix to return. Like, as upset as Miles seems to be, which we'll talk about that tomorrow. There's too many other things going on. We'll talk about Miles tomorrow because, got to tell you, I'm not happy with Miles right now. But guys on the offensive side of the ball, they got to be liking what they see and liking what they hear. I think all of that's the offensive line is going to shore up rather quickly. But Thrasso's right, man. Get George Warhop in here. And I showed you. We showed you the stats, what Baltimore's offensive line has done, what it did last year. I mean, in the offense, you just look at what they did in 23 and 24. They led the league in offense. I mean, you can't ask for anything more, especially that sack rate. Top 5, lowest sack rate. So great point, Thrasso. 100% on board with you. Well, as always, I mean, Thrasso, tell you, man, that is a football mind I love to pick. All right, moving on. At Jerry from Perry. Now, this is a TikTok. This came from a comment on the Browns' latest. Well, it's my TikTok, Grizzer, the Grizzer TikTok, and I like the handle. That's why I wanted Jerry from Perry. But Jerry from Perry makes a great point. He says, people were screaming for a young, innovative coach. Who says a 60-year-old cannot be innovative? He is the right man for the job. I agree, Jerry from Perry. Like, you don't, just because you're a little older doesn't mean you can't, keep reinventing yourself and, adapting to the changes and technology and analytics and everything else that goes on in the world. I mean, you have to keep up, right? I mean, geez, look at what TVs are, if my dad, I'd be like, Dad, like if my dad walked in here right now, I mean, we lost him years ago, but if he walked in here right now, I'd go, Dad, don't even try to turn on the TV because you're never going to be able to figure it out. I got to explain some things, it's just, and even the way cell phones, how quickly they've evolved and all that, I've got in-laws who are in their 80s that I force them to, well, I shouldn't say force, but I highly encourage them to learn how to use the technology because it makes their lives easier, And so even if my in-laws who are in their 80s can learn this stuff, I mean, come on. I agree, Jerry from Perry. And Monken has proven that he can do this every stop he's been, and then look at all the people who are coming out of the woodworks now to sing his praises. Jerry from Perry, great handle, great take. I appreciate it. Michael Davis, -M4M, says, let's give the defensive coordinator a raise to keep him. Well, that's what I said. I had to park the Brinks truck in the parking lot right before I said, hey, that Brinks truck is yours. You're not going to be the head coach, but that Brinks truck is yours. You're going to get all this other stuff too. But just to try and keep them happy, maybe grease the skids a little bit. But I don't know, man. Something didn't go, but I'm with you. Tanya Jackson says, I was shocked to see Jim Schwartz throw a temper tantrum. Yeah, I think that's where we all were. We're all kind of shocked. I keep saying the word baffled. I was baffled. I'm like, what is going on? I mean, you even heard me, moments after Monken was hired and we did the show, and I said, I don't think Monken's crazy enough to let Schwartz go, but Monken wanted Schwartz. But it's Schwartz who does it. Schwartz is the one who seems to be upset about it. So this is going to play itself out. I think they purposely waited to have the press conference until next week to give everybody time to acclimate and let the decision sink in and get their heads together. And so next week, hopefully, cooler heads will prevail. So that's what I'm thinking with the Schwartz situation. I think cooler heads will eventually prevail We'll see. I mean, you got to love that he cares so much, but hopefully that's where I think it's going to happen. I think cooler heads will eventually prevail. Tanya Jackson, I'm with you. I was baffled by it. And we will end today with Matt Stees, 2481, who really likes my idea for a replacement if cooler heads don't prevail in the Jim Schwartz situation. He says, Raheem Morris just set records in Atlanta for sacks. Get him ASAP. And Matt, I will throw something else in there that I completely ignored yesterday when I talked about bringing Raheem Morris in here to be our defensive coordinator. Do you know who the Browns play this year? The Browns play Atlanta. How about this revenge game? Shedeur Sanders versus Kevin Stefanski. Raheem Morris versus the Atlanta Falcons? Are you kidding me? I want Raheem just for that game. Are you kidding me? That would be phenomenal if we can get that. Oh my gosh. I would love to see that. So if it's not Schwartz, man, we got to get Raheem Morris in here, man. We got to get Raheem. Well, I mean, because he's an outstanding coach. Let's start there. Plus, we play the Falcons. How? Oh, my gosh. I would love to see that. Okay, but Matt Stees, thank you for your comment because it reminded me that we play the Falcons, and if we got Raheem Morris, you talk about sidebars. In news, we call them sidebar stories. Like you have a breaking news story, like big fire at the warehouse, and then the sidebar story is how many people are going to lose their jobs because the warehouse burned down, or you know, is the neighborhood going to suffer because the warehouse burned down? You know, you go for the sidebar stories. The sidebar story here is Raheem Morris coached Atlanta. We play Atlanta. Let's go. All right, here he is, the prediction pen, ready to go tomorrow. Going to help us sort through what's going to happen with Todd Monken as our coach, and we'll get a preview of the 2026 season, courtesy of the prediction pen tomorrow, and we'll talk about Myles Garrett. All right, that's going to do it for today's show. Thanks so much for joining us. Fine, call 20 people. Let's fit change tomorrow with the prediction pen. Could be have we ever done that? I can't remember. Could be the first time. Might be the first time. I don't know. Anyway, 20 people. Find them, call them, ask them. Thank you. I appreciate it. All right, go Browns. We'll see you next time.